Week 4, World War I, War in European Theatre and North Africa. Every age has its own kind of war, its own limiting conditions, and its own peculiar preconceptions. Karl von Clausewitz. Objectives: understanding the causes of war, understanding the conduct of war and the development of warfare, economic, political, social and technological. World War I. Allied powers, Triple Entente – Britain, France, Russia, Japan, Portugal, Romania, USA and Greece. World War I. Central powers, Triple Alliance – Germany, Austro-Hungary, Bulgaria and Ottoman Turkey. World War I. War in Europe. War in Northern Africa. Plan: German Schlieffen Plan, French Plan XV11. World War I. Military plans developed by major European powers by 1914, to understand both the outbreak of WW1. Impact on the diplomatic crisis that arose after the assassination in June 1914 of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. In the West, Germany's plan, by including the early violation of Belgian neutrality, rendered further diplomatic moves impossible and ensured that Britain would join her continental allies in the war against Germany. In the East, early Russian mobilization, encouraged by France, had an effect on the speed with which diplomacy gave way to mobilization and general war. The war plans explain the initial military moves made by the European powers. Nowhere did implementation of the plans lead to the results hoped for by their originators. Implementation of the Schlieffen Plan certainly did not solve Germany's problem of a two-front war. Failure of the Schlieffen Plan helps to explain the nature of the war on the Western Front throughout the next 4 years. A war of trenches, a static war, a war where efforts to break the stalemate resulted in enormous loss of life. Causes of war. Deep causes, intermediate causes, immediate cause. Causes of war. Deep causes. Causes of war. Intermediate causes. Causes of war. Immediate cause. On the 28th of June 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, the Austro-Hungary throne, and his wife, Duchess Sophie, were shot dead in Sarajevo by Gavrilo Phillips, one of a group of 6 assassins coordinated by. The political objective of the assassination was to break off Austria-Hungary's South Slav provinces so they could be combined into a Yugoslavia. The assassins' motives were consistent with the movement that later became known as Young Bosnia. The assassination led directly to the First World War, when Austria-Hungary subsequently issued an ultimatum against Serbia, which was partially rejected. Austria-Hungary then declared war. Land battle. World War I, Western Front. Marne. First Battle of the Marne. 5 the 10th of September 1914, Second Battle of the Marne. 15 July the 4th of August 1918. Battle of Ypres. First Battle of Ypres. 19 October, the 17th of November 1914. Second Battle of Ypres. 22 April, the 25th of May 1915. Third Battle of Ypres. 31 July, the 10th of November 1917. Battle of the Somme. 1 July, the 18th of November 1916. Includes Battle of Pozieres. The 23rd July to the 3rd September. Battle of Verdun. 21 February, the 18th of December 1916. Battle of Arras. 9 April, the 15th of May 1917. Battle of Cambrai. 20 November, the 7th of December 1917. World War I, Western Front. Mobility Railway. Trenches. Machine guns. Sea power. German SMS Emden and Russian light cruisers Amchug. The 28th of October 1914 naval battle at Straits of Malacca. Air power. The first powered flight ever made by man. Attack over Britain. In 1915, German airships began the first strategic bombing campaign over London. The impact of massive bombing by these Zeppelins had destructed and jeopardized the morale of the British Army as well as the civilian. 1914. 1915. 1916. Battle of Jutland, May 1916. Royal Navy. The Grand Fleet - Admiral Jellicoe. 5th Battle SQN - Vice Admiral Beatty. German Navy. High Seas Fleet - Admirals here. 1st and 2nd Scouting GP - Rear Admiral Hipper. / 1917. Russian Revolution. WW1 Important Dates. 1914. 28 June. Franz Ferdinand, Archduke of Austria, is assassinated in Sarajevo. 28 July. Austria declares war with Serbia. 1 August. Germany declares war with Russia. 3 August. Germany declares war with France. On the same day the country's armed forces invade Belgium. 4 August. Britain declares war with Germany. 7 August. The British Expeditionary Force, BEF, arrives in France. 2 weeks later, they are defeated by the German army at the Battle of the Frontiers. 18 October. The First Battle of Ypres begins. 29 October. Trench warfare is beginning to dominate across the Western Front. Turkey enter the war on the German. WW1 Important Dates. 1915. 25 April. Allied forces land in Gallipoli, Turkey. 23 May. Italy declares war on German and Austrian and enters the war on the side of the Allies. 5 August. Germany captures Warsaw, the Polish capital, from Russian forces. 19 December. The Allies begin their evacuation of Gallipoli. The campaign is a disaster and more than 44,000 Allied soldiers are killed. WW1 Important Dates. 1916. 27 January. Britain introduces military conscription. 1 July. The Battle of the Somme begins. In just 4 months the British suffered around 420,000 casualties. The French had 200,000 but the Germans suffered the most, coming away with 500,000 casualties. 7 December. David Lloyd George becomes the new Prime Minister of Britain. WW1 Important Dates. 1917. 6 April. The United States enter the conflict by declaring war on Germany. 16 April. A major French offensive on the Western Front is unsuccessful. 6 November. Britain launches a major offensive on the Western Front and their forces begin to make some progress. Later that month British tanks are victorious at the Battle of Cambrai. 5 December. Germany and Russia sign armistice agreement. 9 December. British troops capture Jerusalem from Turkish forces. WW1 important dates. 1918. 3 March. The Treaty of Brest-Litovsk is signed, which officially brings an end to the war between Russia and Germany. 21 March. German forces make a breakthrough on the Somme. 9 April. A German offensive begins at Flanders. 8 August. A crucial Allied advance is successful. 4 October. Germany asks the Allies to sign an armistice agreement. 30 October. Turkey surrender by signing the Armistice of Mudros. 3 November. Austria-Hungary make peace. 9 November. Kaiser William II of Germany abdicates and Germany is declared a republic. 11 November. Germany sign armistice agreement and the First World War is officially ended. Fighting on the Western Front ceases at 11 a.m. Global war consequences. Questions: who won the First World War? WWA, Allies won, the Western Alliance. Major consequence: resulted in World War II. Partly due to isolation of Germany. Features: war to end all wars, stalemate on the battlefield, jingoistic clamor, nationalism on the rise, culmination of imperial interests but also its demise, question of major power clash, rise of anti-war sentiment. Consequences. 1. Nearly 10 million soldiers died and about 21 million were wounded. The United States deaths totaled 116,516. 2. 4 empires collapsed. The Russian Empire in 1917, the German and the Austro-Hungarian in 1918, and the Ottoman in 1922. 3. Independent republics were formed in Austria, Czechoslovakia, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, and Turkey. 4. Most Arab lands that had been part of the Ottoman Empire came under the control of Britain and France. 5. The Bolsheviks took power in Russia in 1917, and fascists triumphed in Italy in 1922. 6. Other consequences of the war included the mass murder of Armenians in Turkey and an influenza epidemic that killed over 25 million people worldwide. 7. Under the peace settlement, Germany was required to pay reparations eventually set at $33 billion, accept responsibility for the war, cede territory to Belgium, Czechoslovakia, Denmark, France, and Poland, give up its overseas colonies, and accept an Allied military force on the west bank of the Rhine River for 15 years. Consequences. 3. Independent republics were formed in Austria, Czechoslovakia, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, and Turkey. Casualties both military and civilian. Deaths 16.5 million. Wounded 20 million. Total World War I casualties 35 million plus. Military deaths 9.7 million. Wounded 21.2 million. Prisoners of war and missing soldiers 7.5 million. Civilian deaths as a result of direct military action 950,000. Deaths caused by disease and famine 6 million. Casualties both military and civilian. More facts. Country with the most military deaths. Germany, 2.1 million. Country with highest total death toll. Russia, 3.8 million. Highest percentage of population killed. Serbia, 16.11%. 250,000 British soldiers suffered a partial or full amputation as a result of fighting in the First World War.